So this is a famous personality, Tawfiq bhai.
Well, he has another quiz, has he? What's the quiz?
No, we want to show the picture. I think they've shown the picture first.
Okay, so is that, are you asking me who that person is now?
Gee.
I think from the first impression, I can see.
Who is that little boy?
It's
Khalid that little boy?
Khalid bhai.
The little boy. No, but who's the little boy though?
If it's the same person, it's Khalid bhai.
MashaAllah. We've got this picture was of Khalid. If you can have the picture on the screen again, please. That is MashaAllah our Nigran of the UK, MashaAllah, Haji Khalid Attari, who's in the studio today. Halibi, I want to ask you a few questions as well though.
Go on.
You know, the first question is, we're in a lockdown. How do you spend your time at home in lockdown?
We're not at home, unfortunately. We're still, alhamdulillah, Dawateislami is still active here in the UK. We're still doing a lot of work. And with the month of Ramadan, a lot of activities are still taking place. We're still collecting zakat, we're still doing our finance, we're still doing our HR work. We're utilising this time to do internal audits to check the situation of Dawateislami and any weaknesses or any things that we can see, we're trying to rectify them. So we're utilising this time as best as possible, because in one way we've not got the same face-to-face meetings that we've had before. We're not travelling up and down the country like we did before, but at the same time it's an opportunity for us to sit in the offices and check all our systems and make sure all our systems are in place. So alhamdulillah, it's good for us.
MashaAllah. I sent this picture to Shabir bhai, MashaAllah, our IT and he said it's you. I didn't tell him, but he knows now.
Have they not put up a picture of you yet?
I don't think they have. No. I'll have to introduce myself to the people.
I've got a fantastic picture of you somewhere. I'll have to put it up.
Ji Khalid, another question. MashaAllah, you running the affairs of Dawateislami in the whole of UK. You are the boss in the UK, as we can say. MashaAllah. Or in Dawateislami terms, we say, MashaAllah, you are the Khadim. Allah has given you that blessing that you are, MashaAllah, running the works of Dawateislami in the UK. The question someone asked was, how did you come into the mahol of Dawateislami, and did you do anything before your academic career? What was it? What are you? You know, what are you? You're Khalid bhai, we know that. But what is your academic career as well?
I did an electrical electronic engineering degree, an honours degree, and I became a ICA engineer, which is instrumentation control and automation. And from there, I went to consultancy.
I've heard of ICU, but ICA is
ICA, instrumentation control and automation.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
And then I started my own company, consultancy company, and I became a software consultant. And so that is my career, and I'm still doing a little bit of that, alhamdulillah, but not as much as I used to, alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah. He's, MashaAllah, viewers of Madani channel, you know, he's academic, MashaAllah, a very, he could earn a lot of money if he gets if he gets himself a job, but MashaAllah, he's got the beautiful job of working for Dawateislami, alhamdulillah, day and night, you know, and I'm not going to just say it on his face, but alhamdulillah, he's an icon, mashallah, and he's a role model for many of us, mashallah, sitting in the studio and maybe the watching, you know, for someone to give up his time, his family, and to work so hard, up and down. Whenever I hear about him, he's in Birmingham, he's uddar, you know.
I think though, Hafsab, you know, what people don't realize is that behind the scenes, there are so many people working hard, and so sometimes we only see one person. You know, like for example, now people are watching this program and they're seeing you as the host and they're thinking Hafiz Saab is here. But what they don't realize is behind the scenes, behind the fact that Hafiz Saab is doing this program, there are so many people. We've got people in the studio here. You might not be able to see that Hafiz Saab's got a little earpiece in, and there's people talking in his ears. He's looking at the messages. These messages have been transferred. There's technical staff here. There's technical staff behind the scenes. So when
you're talking about my capability, how can
I'm just saying generally what people don't realize is that sometimes what happens is that, you know, whatever the work of Deen is taking place within Dawateislami, it's a complete teamwork. And I remember using this example before that, you know, when people think about a sport, you know, and it's the final of that, it's the World Cup final, and a certain person has scored the goal and everybody is celebrating and mentioning him that, mashallah, you know, he did that and he did this and he did this. But they don't realize all the thousands of people behind that. And I always use the example that there's a guy that his responsibility is to put diesel in the coach. Yeah? And so when the diesel goes in the coach, the team get on the coach bus and go to the stadium. If that person didn't put diesel in the coach, yeah, then that coach could not get to the stadium. That match wouldn't be played. So behind the scenes, alhamdulillah, you know, there are 107 departments of Dawateislami. Yes, okay, I'm the Khadim of Dawateislami, but it's the fact that millions, thousands and thousands of brothers and sisters around the UK are all doing their work. And I'm just here really. They're doing all the work. I'm not really doing anything, to be honest.
From the pictures that we saw,
Ji.
when the latest picture from them was taken, at that moment of time, did you ever thought that you're going to have this religious field?
No, you don't. Obviously, you don't. I say what did happen.
What was obviously there's many things that play a role, but what was the turning point? You can mention today?
Even at that point, I think that picture was taken. I think I was about 25 at the time, which is about nearly, unfortunately, nearly 30 years ago.
Allah.
But at that time, I remember that one thing I'd realised that. Although I was, alhamdulillah, I was brought up good. My parents gave me a good upbringing, a disciplined, and well brought up. So I wasn't one of those bad lads, so to speak. But I still felt that I wasn't very religious, and I wanted to acquire the knowledge. And unfortunately, people that go to Madrasat al-Madina in the UK today, they're very, very lucky children, because the facilities that we had, have some with all. You're younger than me, so you won't know that. When I went to the so-called madrasa in them time, in the local madrasa, I was not even taught the translation of the kalma. I didn't know anything about the seerah of the Prophet. I didn't know the four companions of the Prophet. I didn't know anything.
You make me feel you're right young now,
But it's true though, and so I felt that weakness inside myself, that I had very little knowledge of the deen. And so I was searching for somewhere to acquire the knowledge.
MashaAllah.